Hey there, Joe DeSanto here. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me in another video. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think couples might consider when deciding to combine or keep separate their finances. It's an interesting topic, definitely, probably very opinion-oriented topic, but I have my thoughts and I'll share what I did. But before that, I'd like to ask you, if you like my content, please do the old like and subscribe. That definitely helps. And also, I wanted to let you know I have some tiers now, some membership tiers on my YouTube channel. So if you like my Quicken content in particular and you want more advanced Quicken content, you could join one of the two, actually, or the lower or the higher tier. In the lower tier, you get the advanced content. In the higher tier, you get to request a specific Quicken video for me to make that meets your needs, and you can do that once a month. All right, into the video here. So, couples expenses. This is an interesting one. I guess I'll give some basics. I would not combine your expenses in any way until you're married. So let's say that even if you're living together, I would keep your finances separate. And when you get married, I would recommend combining them just because you're officially a team now. And as far as usually most marriage laws go in most states, everything, is both of yours fairly equally. So you having your own separate accounts really just makes sort of your family bookkeeping a little bit harder. Now, I have a bunch of clients. Some of them combine finances. Some of them actually maintain some separate finances. Mostly, I think, though, out of laziness, like they just were doing it that way before. They didn't feel like changing anything. And no one's really commandeering the family finances, so they didn't care so much. But functionally, I think, especially as someone who's come in now to manage their money, it's easier and makes more sense to combine them once you're married. Now, the question then becomes I guess this question of sort of equity or equality in this situation. And I don't even know if that's the right term, but it's just what's coming to mind. But, sometimes both people work. Sometimes both people make the same amount of money. Sometimes one person works, one person stays home with the kids. So I think in some ways where friction can be created if there is a feeling of inequity somehow in what people are contributing. I guess maybe that's a topic for a different video, but I guess if you're talking about it, you might want to acknowledge issues around that. But I'm going to go back to when you're not married. So, and I'll give you my example of my life. So my now wife, girlfriend at the time, we're together. We each had our own apartments, and we just had separate financial lives. She paid her own bills and apartment. I paid mine, and that was that. But we eventually moved in together, and around that same time, I bought a house. So we moved in together. We weren't married. I was choosing to take on a significantly higher housing payment because I believed in buying a house for the long-term future, and also I was making enough money at the time to do it. But we wanted her to move in, and she also wanted to contribute. So what we decided to do was she contributed towards the mortgage in the same amount of money she was paying for her apartment. And so I guess in a sense, you could technically look like we were roommates. I owned the house and she was sort of, paying rent for her portion, but I don't think we looked at it that way. But she just, wanted to contribute, and I was more than happy to take the contribution because, as I said, my housing payment from my rent to the mortgage now was significantly higher, and while I was excited for that, it was a little nerve-wracking. So this is a perfect solution. We got to move in together. She got to maintain her current rent amount, but she got to live in a much nicer place and bigger house, no roommates, all that. Of course, she was with me too, so she was excited. And we were both sharing in the experience. But now, I will say, when it came to bills, though, we just split those down the middle. So then you get to the point of, well, how did this functionally happen? Until we get married, my wife had her own checking account, her own credit cards, had her own paycheck, her money went in there. And because I was sort of the finance person of the group and did sort of the bookkeeping, I would at the end of the month say to her, hey, the bills are this, and then of course you contributing this for rent, so write me a check for X number of dollars. And she did that, and I took that money and put that in my personal account. So that's how we did it. Now, other things like going out to dinner, whatever, who knows, but I think when it comes down to housing and bills, those are the main things you're concerned about. Now, once we got married, she let go of her checking account. We put her name on mine, and we had a joint account, and everything just went into that. And that's how it is to this day. So we not only both collectively owned everything. She owned half the house now, so it worked out great. But all our income got pooled, and we spend it that way. So now I don't have to basically get that check, which is a nice convenience. Now, some people, though, want to keep their own checking account. Even though they're married, they're like, I like to have my account, and my paycheck goes in there, and I kind of have a place where I can spend money, which it's kind of at my own discretion. And I totally understand that. I think, sometimes people like to have their own checking account, their own credit card. I guess my only question sometimes when that comes up, the question is like, why? Like, is there something that you don't want the person to see? I mean, functionally in our lives, the only thing we don't want the other person to see that we buy are like birthday gifts and holiday gifts. Otherwise, we're kind of collectively on the same page about how we spend money, what we spend money on. And my wife and I kind of have an unspoken rule, like, you can spend up to sort of a reasonable amount of money on whatever you want, like on Amazon or this, whatever you think you need. But if it gets kind of like high, like $300-400 plus, it's worth the conversation. Like, hey, just FYI, I'm going to buy this, and wanted to let you know if you get a problem with it. And that seems to work. I mean, most of the time it's like, okay, whatever, buy it. But there have been times where we've thought, especially when times are tighter, like, hey, do we really need that? And we try to incorporate the, don't buy it right away, wait a day, whatever. I'm always doing the finances. I kind of create a monthly expenditure. I talk with my wife about it, and we collectively decide, hey, we're always trying to save money and save more, just like I'm talking about on my channel. So we collectively decide, hey, we spend a lot in this category. Maybe we should both focus on, the discretionary stuff. Let's not each buy as much stuff without checking with each other. Let's use each other as a barometer of if we need it, So anyway, obviously everyone's got to figure out what works for them, but I'll say at least functionally speaking, especially for someone who manages family finances for myself and others, having everything in joint accounts is easier and I think, I guess, better. But before you get married, I would maintain the separation, but still share in expenses to whatever degree you think is necessary. All right, hopefully that was helpful. I'm not sure. It's a little weird to talk about relationship stuff, honestly, but maybe my thoughts will help you. I will talk to you later.